Welcome to another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric. I am so pleased to finally be able to bring to you the log cabin tree skirt that I have been planning to do since back in January when I first started doing the Pithy Patchwork projects. I am so delighted and pleased with this tree skirt, and I can't wait to share it with you. But first I want to go over a couple items of business so that I don't forget to share them. The first is that there will be a free PDF pattern for this quilt / tree skirt on my blog, pithyponderings.com. The information will be down in the description, so check that out if you'd like the free PDF. There's actually instructions for 3 different blocks that make up 3 different types of blocks that make up this small quilt. It would be easy enough to make this a larger quilt for those of you with more experience. Just make the strips wider, and it would immediately turn into a larger size quilt. But for the purpose of this project, I kept everything to a size that would work well for a 40-inch by 40-inch finished quilt top, or in this case, tree skirt. It's going to be lovely under my son's Christmas tree. He still has a fairly small tree, and so this will be the perfect size. And that brings me to the second bit of information that I want to share. So today I'm sharing the Pithy Patchwork Project, the free pattern, and showing you this this log cabin tree skirt. But if you tune in December, I'm going to be showing you my large tree skirt that goes under my tree, and in more detail some of the other tree skirts and stockings, as well as other projects that I have made over the years to help decorate my home for Christmas. I tossed around the idea, and in the end I thought, yes, I want to actually make, if nothing else for my own records, I want to make 24, maybe 25, depending on what day I start, shorter videos that share with you, hopefully, what will be inspiration of the things that I have done as gifts for friends and family, as decor. I may even bring in some baking. But right now I know I have 24 videos planned. Things that are knitted, things that are crocheted, some quilting, some woodworking, many different crafts and items. They're not going to be tutorials, but they are hopefully something that will inspire you. And included in them will be items that my grandmother or my grandmothers have made that help me get in the season every year when I get them out of storage, when I get them out of their boxes. It's always a joy to me when it's this holiday season time to pull out the things that my grandmother made, and they inspire me. Different materials at different times, different techniques that she learned. She was such an inspiration to me, and I hope that by sharing the things that she has made, the things that I have made, the things that even my children and husband have made, that you will find some inspiration and some joy in the month of December. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe now, and maybe even hit that little bell so that you can get notifications when my videos go up, because I hope that you will find some joy in the videos I make. I know that my son, who is still overseas, will get joy, and so they will be made for him and anyone else who chooses to watch them. So with that information out of the way, let me show you the tree skirt I made him. So a little bit of the backstory to this tree skirt. When I was designing it, I discovered that for this size, I was having trouble laying out the blocks in a way that was appealing to me. So instead of doing instead of doing 9 blocks that were exactly the same, I decided to do 3 different types of blocks. 2 log cabins and a center. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a picture here of the tree skirt, if I haven't already. I might have already done that. So, the pattern itself has the 3 different types of blocks. The standard, let me see if I have this. Let me get it in front of the camera. Let me bring it over here. There we go. All right. So in this block, you see it's the standard square log cabin shape. And I also wanted to do, similar to the log cabin placemat I did back in October, I have a rectangular block. And then in the center, to tie everything together, I have basically a 16 patch that, if you notice, yes, I did cut up. I cut up through the center. Ah, there we go. Now you can see it. You can't see me, but you can kind of see the tree skirt. So yes, there'll be pictures, but let me tell you about the blocks. So when I started doing this, I designed the basic tree skirt pattern. Took me a little fiddling, took me a little time, but in the end I was able to find a way to have the blocks really match in size and scale. The rectangular log cabin blocks do have 2 different widths of logs, like the placemats that I did in a previous video. But the square one, all of the logs are the same size. All of the squares in the center section are the same size. So I wanted to keep it really simple for people who are first beginning with quilting. Keep the measurements really simple. Try not to have too much variation. That was the idea. With that being said, once I figured out the layout, I had to go and pick fabric. And yes, I actually wanted to pick fabric from my stash. No going out and buying any fabric for this one. And I went and I picked this fabric, and I loved this fabric. Okay, let me see, there we go. I loved all of this paisley and this poinsettia and this jewel tones, and everything about it just screamed the kind of aesthetic that my son has. But my son also likes whimsy. So the things that I make him for Christmas are a combination between elegant, really refined old world elegance and extreme whimsy of cartoon type characters. That just seems to suit his Christmas aesthetics. So using a machine embroidery, I put something in a square, and then I needed designs to go in the big rectangle. And when I first started doing this, I had a set of designs I was going to use, but it kept bugging me. In fact, I had them all stitched out, and the designs were took a good hour to 2 hours to stitch each design. It had that many thread changes and colors, and they were really intense designs, but they didn't look right for the project. So instead, I kept coming back to, I wanted something that said Renaissance fair, medieval characters, something with that kind, but with whimsy. And I kept thinking, oh my goodness, it'd be so fabulous if I had something that was a fuzzy creature like a fox. So I did some searching online, and lo and behold, I found an artist on Etsy who sells beautiful watercolor clip art that you can use in projects. And since I'm not using it for sale or any of that, I use it. I put in the description a link to her Etsy shop because I loved her artwork. Oh my goodness. It was wonderful. And for digitizers, the files were a little on the large size. My computer struggled a little bit, but they're beautiful watercolor in PNG type formatting. So they came in, I could lay things out. And other than the limitations of my own computer, they were just fabulous to digitize. So I sat down. I had all the strips already cut out. I had all the squares cut out. Everything was ready to assemble. I just now needed a new set of blocks. And so I sat down and I digitized. And the first one I digitized was the castle. And the tree is from a different set of patterns that she had. So I put the tree over the top of the castle. I digitized the castle, digitized the tree, and I had my castle. And then every good medieval story, there we go, needs dragons. So I digitized the dragons. I digitized the present that the dragons are holding. And I have dragons now sharing the Christmas joy and sharing a gift. So I did the dragons. And then, of course, all respecting castles, self-respecting castles need to have a knight and a fair maiden. And this is how I found the artwork, is I looked for specifically medieval foxes. So there is my foxes. Again, it's a number of designs that this artist has. And again, I'm going to share all of that in the description. I don't want to make a mistake of saying a name incorrectly in the video. So I'll share all that information. But, so I sat down and I digitized these wonderful foxes. The sword is one of her pieces of art. But when it needed the presents, those were just things I digitized on my own. Making a simple shape is something that I can do. That's within my artistic ability. So there is my little foxes. Well, then I need a fourth block, and one of the things that when making the tree skirt is you have to have a side that to cut open so that you can get it around the tree. And I thought about just having a hole in the center because my son has an artificial tree. But if you ever needed to remove the tree skirt, once the tree was assembled, it would be a problem. And since I have cats, and anyone who has cats knows cats like to do hairballs, especially on your tree skirts, I thought I'd better have an opening. So I kept thinking, well, what kind of design would work that I could slice up the middle? So I did. Let me flip this around. I just landed upon the notion of doing a block with 2 Christmas trees. Now, the trees are the artwork of the artist, but I've taken some digitizing license and I've put my own ornaments on it, and I've put some tinsel, and so there's 2 trees that form the back. And as I said, I'm sure I have tons of pictures that I am sharing. And so that's what I ended up doing. And once I had them stitched out, I knew they were the perfect feel, the perfect combination of elegance and whimsy. Then it was just a matter of quilting it, putting a label on it, and calling it good. So I haven't washed this yet. It's going to fluff up quite a bit when I do. I wanted to get the video done and share this and get the photos and everything taken before I put this in the mail and send it off to my son. So that is my tree skirt. I wanted to bring it to you. I hope that you enjoyed it. It's been kind of weird trying to figure out how I was going to do this video. 40 by 40 tree skirt is not exactly the easiest thing to, as you can see, hold up. But I mean, I showed my son these guys first, and he just went nuts. My daughter went nuts. I suspect these two dragons might show up in other projects in the future. It was so worth the extra time, the extra effort to get something that really brought together these fabrics. Because, you know, quilters will know, people who've done a bunch of quilting will know, it's really hard when all of your fabrics read the same kind of tone. The only difference between these two fabrics is that it's the same print, but one has a red background and one has a black background. Otherwise, it's the same design. And they work because of the overall feel I was going for. Too often, you run into a lot of problems when you have a lot of fabrics with the same tone. It's easier, it really is a lot easier if you have some good light, medium, and dark contrast. And so, I was so set on this fabric, so set on putting together this quilt, complete and utter faith that it would work out, but it had to have the right designs. So, it was really a joy, a little bit more work than I intended, but it was such a joy to put it together. I'm so pleased with it. I'll show you, let me show you the label. Not that my information's not up there, but that's the part of the label on the back of it. And again, just going with that that overall feel. I went with a simple label. It just has my name, made by me, on this one. But yeah, it was a joy. It brought me a lot of fun and satisfaction. So that is my log cabin tree skirt, and that is what I want to share with you today. Now, again, definitely stay tuned. Hit the subscribe, hit the little bell to get notifications. I'm going to give you a quick sneak peek of one of the other tree skirts that I will be showing. This is for that little tree right there. And I will be sharing that and the other projects, as I said, in my 24 days Advent calendar countdown videos to Christmas. Only a short month away. Actually, just now a little bit shy of a month away. Before then, I think there'll be at least one more video. My daughter is very close to having her countdown to Christmas collection from last year yarn. I did the countdown for Christmas. It's one of my videos last year, and she's almost got all of the granny squares sewn together, crocheted together. And so my next video is going to most likely be showing you that Afghan as it will be finished. She is very close to having it done now, and she knows that I want to be able to show it off in the next video. So keep an eye out, and I hope that you will join me again soon for another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric. And until then, I wish you all the joy and wonders of this autumn season, or for those of you in the other hemisphere, the spring, the changes of the season this time of year. There's always such wonder. Every time you step outside, you feel like there is a nice, wonderful change. And I hope that you are finding joy, and I hope that you are finding peace. And we will see you again soon.